down here in the bottom left side of Oxide to start off this epic best of 9. Give it up for Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Dark. And his opponent up here in the top representing the Shopify Rebellion, he is Byun. And this is already going to be an epic series, I can tell, because quite frankly, these two are literal legends. If you guys remember, these are the back-to-back DreamHack finalists and victors, with Byun taking 2016, and actually I'm making a mistake here. I'm thinking of Rogue, but yeah, these guys, they've played a lot. This was the 2016 finals that these two played in versus each other. And I mean, that was one of the best series of all time. You know, just an epic run from both of these guys to get to that point. And they've been giving us nothing but great games since. So just fixing a couple of things here just so that we can get the most out of this series. Had a couple problems with setup, but it's all good now. As we see, nothing really too crazy out of Byun this game. He is one of those guys who, he can be very aggressive versus Zerg players. He's very difficult to deal with, especially since he'll kind of just force you into a situation where you're consistently having to remake units. Ling Bane is actually relatively expensive, all things considered, if you have to consistently remake it. So it forces his opponent to not expand, to not grow. It makes it difficult to go up to Hive, and that's really what Byun's going to be going for. He's going to try and keep that forward momentum in that way. Now Dark, he's no slouch when it comes to the defense either. All he has to do is hold on for the first couple of attacks, and if he can get some counter damage in as well, then he's going to not only set himself up for a very strong mid to late game, but he's also just going to be absolutely unstoppable when we get to the late part of the series. Oop. So right now we do see Byun. He's not going to commit to the Hellions here, only going to build 2. Now Dark is going to go for a favorite here. He's got the Roach Warren down. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's going to use that for some sort of all-in. Looks like Byun, however, is just kind of gearing up for a big attack. He's going for Cloak as well, so that's one of the reasons that he's kind of cut that Hellion production, as he just wants to have enough to kind of build up that Marine count while getting all of this tech structures. And yeah, Dark recognizes the drop. He will have no drones there, so not really too much for Byun to find. And Byun will have to retreat out of there with all of his units. First siege tank is out because he did see the roaches. Oh no, Simon. Getting hit by the clip, showing the solar nuke from a while ago. That was awesome. But this game is going to be even more awesome, as Byun has already begun his non-stop assaults, getting in there, kind of denying some mining time off of this third base. Dark a little bit slow to kind of build up that drone count, and that's kind of one of the things, since you know, since Byun is so aggressive, you kind of have to play a little bit more careful in terms of that kind of critical mass of drones. Everything else being said here, the Banshee does come in. There is detection, but he will be able to snag at least 1 kill for himself. May even just be able to harass these queens. This is always nice. It's funny, since Dark and Byun were playing as a team in Archon show matches yesterday. You know what? These guys, I feel like they play against and with each other so much. And that's really why it's exciting, because there's nothing hidden, really, from their game plans from each other. They just really know each other very, very well. Just like Dark knows he's in a little bit of trouble since he did lose so many roaches right there. How many did go down? Looks like 5. So an excellent little pickoff right there. It's going to delay any sort of attack that Dark may decide to go for. But it looks like Dark also going to stick with the roaches, but also try and go up to Hive Lurker as well. Maybe just trying to catch Byun before he can really hit that critical mass of a 3-base Terran. Yeah, everything's pretty normal right now. Dark still really hasn't been able to get a full scout, if you can kind of see. But one thing to note is that Byun's upgrades are just a little bit delayed. You know, he's only getting +1 about halfway done right here at the 7-minute mark. And that's because he had to invest so much in the early game to get all these different techs out, all these different little moves. And that kind of tells you Byun. He's the kind of player who kind of delays some things. He'll definitely try and stay in the mid game for as long as possible, even as his opponent starts to go up to Hive, gets a couple of infestors as well. I don't know the map order, Jeremiah Seto, but there is going to be 9. I think it is loser's pick for this one. Maybe Sushi can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. But let's see if Byun is in the wrong for this push. He's set up right here on the high ground. Dark is looking for an angle. He is set up for the surround, and the fact that he has these fungals means Byun has to be exceptionally careful. One group of Marines does get hit. A second one goes down as well. And this is actually going to be very quick cleanup here for Dark. An excellent move right there. He lost barely anything, I feel. And yeah, that was just excellent play. So now for Byun, he has to reset. He has to reconnect himself. And he's really got to think about his next move, because Dark is really going to start exploding here, like I was saying earlier. As Lurkers going to be on the way, they will have the speedy burrow coming on in. And yeah, right now, I did see a few additional Marauders on the production tab, but he's still at a relatively low count here. So he doesn't really have a lot that kind of deals with those Lurkers, especially not once you add in the Vipers and the Blinding Clouds. Now Dark, trying to keep the supplies low, will try and trade out a little bit here as he does lose 9 workers back at home. These Banshees doing absolute work, 14 kills apiece. I think the Terran player kind of recognizes that, hey, I need to do something. I need to do a little bit more, because he can bleed out workers in small numbers at this point. He has more than enough larvae to remake them. So you're definitely going to have to get a base snipe at the very least. But if he gets on this 3rd base, oh my goodness, that would actually be humongous. And we can see the little bit of a bait in the front. He's going to get right on top of this, getting right on top of the Lurker Den. And that is a deadly pickoff here. Even going to get the Hydra Den, so there is going to be no Lurkers anytime soon. That's the amount of damage that he needed to do here. Now there's only 5 Lurkers on the field, and that's all he's going to have for a while. One of them going to get focus fire down. The Transfuse going to make this attack retreat. But at the end of the day, now I think Byun has kind of found his little niche, and he's going to want to continue this aggression. Oh, a deadly parasitic bomb right there. Gonna get all 3 medevacs. You definitely don't want to be remaking those at this stage in the game. You need all the gas you can get. And taking a look at the army size here, it's still relatively equal. 88 to 92. But now Dark just had a big remax. 12 more Hydras on the way. And he's going to be looking to push. Banshee's still finding some work, and that is absolutely incredible. Might even get the infestation pit. Not the biggest of deals, but if you can snipe the hive behind that, it is such a huge deal. Looks like Byun a little bit trapped right here, 1 by 1. Streaming through that siege tank. The lurker is going to make it difficult to move in. Looks like he did remake that lurker den. And he will be able to get the siege tanks. So while Byun can kind of hold this position, he really is banking on kind of pulling the army of Dark apart. He's got another big attack over here. And let's see what it's going to be able to do. Lurkers burrowing right on top. Scan's going to go down, but he's not focus firing the lurkers or really anything. And so that attack won't really get too much done. I gotta say, Dark is just doing a fantastic job of kind of clearing this up with minimal delay. You can kind of see right here, Byun trying to trade out again, but that supply is starting to plummet. As we kind of see here, Dark is getting way better trades overall. Now behind this, Byun did decide to go for a Ghost Academy, so that's going to help out a little bit here. It'd be kind of funny if we get to see him go nukes, because he doesn't really get to do that very often. But Dark trying to fight on multiple fronts. He's got the lurkers at the top going on in, blocking out the reinforcements, while the main force in the front is keeping Byun in a very hard contain. So from here, Dark really is just looking to starve his opponent out. He doesn't need to attack in here. He just needs to kind of keep Byun back while he takes the map and while he just explodes in terms of literally everything. Losing a Viper there. A little bit sloppy by Dark. You know, he is trying to multitask very hard here. Will they play 9 games or only till 5 wins? I believe it's till 5 wins. I just got the brief this morning, so I'm not 100% sure, but hold that thought. Dark getting right on top of this base. The SCVs trying to repair, and they will be able to do so, but the fungals crapping all over those ghosts, and all of them will go down. So Dark is going to break this position, and he will be able to kind of from there just really make it difficult for Byun to come back. So now Byun down to 135 supply, down 40 army supply. He's just going to tap out. GG is called. I apologize, guys. I was having a really bad coughing fit, so that's why I was so quiet for so long. But anyway, the Reapers do manage to kind of chill out there. They do get a little bit here, but now the Roaches is going to be a little bit of a problem here. That's why he switched into Marines. No, Sushi, it was on purpose this time, I promise. Yeah, the good thing about this stream is that there is no delay, so if I do accidentally mute on accident, then you guys can tell me almost immediately. But anyway, the roaches are going to make their way in here. There is one bunker. He's just going to lift up and actually clear out the wall. So that's a bit interesting because that'll give a lot of surface area for Dark to kind of move in here. SCV's doing what they can, but the bunker will fall. And now there's not really a lot left here for Byun, other than these Marines. So now the Marine's trying to fight at the top of the ramp. Dark is playing a little bit less cautious here. You can kind of see that he's trying to fight in this choke point, and it's really starting to hurt him. Base, though, is going to get in the red, but the SCV should be able to kind of clean that out, make it nice and pretty again. And Dark, he's kind of missed his window. He might just want to go home here and kind of drone up, get that third base up, and just kind of go from there. He doesn't really need to push the issue anymore. He's already soft-contained Byun. Isn't this a replay from 2016? Nope, because these Cyclones don't have the Burt cannon. Roaches divide and flee as these couple of Ravagers trying to save themselves here, almost getting a shot off on the Cyclones, but no dice there. As Byun will be able to finally reestablish that base. Dark has got his third, and we are back to a stable mid-game, ladies and gentlemen. So now Byun kind of just pressuring around a little bit. Nothing really to kill on this third base as the Banshee gonna look for a little pokey poke himself. Will be able to be shooed away here. That's the one good thing about Frost, is that the distance between the natural and the main is so short that it's pretty easy for these queens to kind of defend both locations. Yeah. What he said. But now Byun kind of just powering up. He's got those siege tanks on the way for a very aggressive push here. Dark is going to go for an old school build as well. Straight back into Ling Bane Muta, which is kind of a better choice on this map. It's more mobile, so you can kind of play around a little bit more. You can catch your opponent off guard, and you can kind of defend further expansions much quicker. So it's just a better choice in this situation. Oh my goodness, Tankovax. I still have nightmares and wet dreams about those. So now Byun gonna go straight for the third base. Once again, gonna kind of pressure, pretend like he's going for the main. Ravager's going to start getting some biles down, but since there's no upgrades, these roaches are actually going to be having a better time of it right now. You know, roaches don't really do well versus bio once you start getting into those later upgrades, 2-2, 3-3, etc. But in this situation, Byun is foregoing almost all of his upgrades just so that he can get this push out a little bit quicker. And a good push it is. A very nice positioning on these tanks. Just got to be a little bit careful not to do that. All the queens going down as well, so the drones have to retreat. That is a lot of lost mining time as Dark is getting pulled all over the place. His reinforcements getting caught. The siege tanks, though, are not sieged rather. So he's just going to pick up what he can and get out of there. He does get to save a lot, but this drop is still going on. This is super efficient here for Byun, even if he's not getting any drone kills. Take a look at this income. It goes in his favor because of this drop. Yeah, these mutas, they are pretty much in a union. They just got their contract renewed, and that's why they're doing something now. Byun is keeping this attack going, however. That's a very far forward on that siege tank. As Dark is just going to try and go for the 360 to surround, but there is not enough here, so Byun should be able to escape in the backfield. Dark, though, is going to be able to clean up quite a few of these units, and Byun is going to have to retreat with his tail between his legs. The Muta's not going to give chase. He's just going to go straight for the killing blow as the majority of his army is up here. Now Byun is in a rough spot. He is pre-stimmed at the top of the ramp, so his units are going to be weakened without really doing too much. He's still got a little drop up here, but Dark can just keep a couple of roaches out there, and he should be good to go. The SCVs are going on a trek. Since this is Frost, it's kind of like March of the Penguins, and the Snow Leopards have found them. Now all we need is Morgan Freeman to commentate for a while, as these Penguins slash SCVs do meet a bitter frosty end. 25 workers going down. The medevac finally gets cleaned up, and now Byun, he's kind of going for a Hail Mary with a couple more drops, which I gotta say is pretty ballsy, not knowing where those mutas are. At the end of the day, this is still going to be a hard position to get up, but I think Dark has the numbers to do so. Clearing out those rocks, trying to re-establish his third base. And that has been gone for pretty much a while now. Dark is completely maxed out right now, so he doesn't need to build anything else. Oh my goodness. I've seen Byun come back from absolutely unwinnable positions, but I don't think he's going to be able to do so versus Dark. This is revenge for 2016. Saying, hey, you remember last time we played this map? I sure do. Although, Dark did just drop 50 supply in a relatively short amount of time right there. Now Byun going to be able to give chase a bit. Wow. Even killing one of his own Marines, a traitor Marine, probably thought it was a changeling. So Byun actually going to be able to recover here for a little bit of time. Dark is preparing for his next big wave. But the Mutas still going to be able to kind of chill out. Byun is on the offensive, and he really really needs to do a little bit of work here. The siege tanks getting to wail away on the Ravagers, but it's the Marine DPS that just isn't really enough here to finish them off. So Dark is going to be able to jump right on in, crush through this army. Once again, he doesn't care about this tank on the high ground. He's got vision, and with this base going down, Dark will take game number 2. A very convincing lead over his 2016 opponent. It looks like bottom left. It probably is the bottom left. I've never learned colors, shapes, or the difference between left and right. I went to public school, so I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. And Cassander, we do not have a map list because it is loser's choice for this series. So as Dark kind of getting ready here, it looks like he did decide to go for a cheeky spawning pool first here. So we should be seeing these first 6 lings make their way across the map. And the thing for Byun is he will get the SCV scout, which is very nice for him because it does kind of tell him, hey, get ready in case there is some sort of roach follow-up. In fact, instead, he's just going to see the fact that the lings are out, sees the timing on that hatchery, and he knows all alarm bells start ringing. Going to finish off the wall. Might build a bunker on the low ground. He might even just decide to kind of defend on the high. It all depends on what he's going for. And yeah, he wanted to build a bunker. It decided against it. Just going to try and defend the high ground. If he can stop these couple of lings from getting a deny on this CC, that's already going to be a pretty big win for him here. Some good micro as well. Going to save the Marines. That does mean that CC will finish, but there is no follow-up from Dark, by the way. He is just running up behind this. He's feeling comfortable. He's feeling safe. He doesn't need to keep this going, so this isn't really going to do too much. Byun is saving Beckett for when the score gets dire. You know what? I think what's going to happen is we're going to get to game number 9. We've gone through 6 of the 7 map pools. Or 6 of the 7 maps in the pool, and then Byun is going to make his decision. And you know what? He's going to say submarine, just so he doesn't have to play on Beckett. I don't really know a lot of players who actually do get who choose Beckett. I think it was the least picked map in most of the recent tournaments. As we see, Byun is going very similar to game number 1. He's getting out that Banshee. He is going to commit a little bit harder to Hellions this time, getting an additional one. Looks like he did get caught, however. Oh, okay. This is exactly what I would expect from Byun. He's going for a Hellbat Banshee push here, and now Dark really has to know that this is coming. So far, he doesn't have the Bailing Nest out. That should finish up. It should finish up by the time this hits. The lair is going to be done as well, so we can start centrifugal hooks as quickly as humanly possible. But this is going to hit at a very crisp timing. How do you open battle report in this observer interface? The command for it is Shift B, but you need to have an extension mod. I think it's OBS 2020. And you can use it actually on most interfaces, I believe, with that extension mod. There are enough banelings to kind of shoot this away for right now. The Banshee nowhere to be seen. It might have been taken down. It hasn't. It just kind of stayed at home to defend. It looks like Dark trying to get a little bit of cheeky damage in. And now Byun doesn't want to overcommit. He doesn't want to overextend here. He's going to be powering up behind this, getting his upgrades started a little bit late once again, as well as those additional racks and his third, as the Hellions kind of just harass the front with these Mariners. So overall, a good defense from Dark. He didn't really have to do a whole lot because Byun wasn't super committed to it. And yeah, from here, Byun is just very content to kind of harass a little bit, look for an opening. In fact, you're going to go straight for the creep tumors. Transfuse will be able to save the queen, but that is more energy that is not going to be available for transfuses. Also, yeah, mutas. It's going to have enough for about 8. That's kind of the standard number to start with. That was actually a really cool move as well. He attacked the rocks because he knew the creep tumor was right underneath, so it does splash damage. Really smart plays from these guys. I really like how he is kind of denying the creep, as that will allow him to kind of get a lot closer to these bases without being spotted, as Dark doesn't really have a ton of vision out on the map outside of the creep. He's got this one Ling who is covering quite a bit of ground. So there's always a chance he misses something. Byun kind of just rotating around once again. We see Dark getting ready for a small attack. Byun is out of position with his forces. You can kind of see he will retreat for right now. I don't know if he saw the army. But kind of like two ships passing in the middle of the night, neither side really knowing that the other was going to attack. I guess right now they're just kind of waiting for that power up. They're not really going to be super aggressive, especially not Dark, since Lingbane Muta is very deceptively expensive. Mutas, they're not so bad. They're about 100 gas, but when you add in the fact that you need to make 10, 15, maybe even 20 Banes at a time, you can kind of see he has almost no gas to his name because of all that. And also, if Byun decides to be aggressive here, you're going to have to consistently be remaking those forces. And so it's going to be really difficult to kind of expand out, tech up to that hive. That's really what Byun has to go for right here if he wants to stay even in this game. The Widowmine not going to go off because he did unburrow it at the last second. Muta's going to come home and just defend this, as Byun is very content to just kind of stick around and pressure and threaten. Dark, though, is having absolutely none of that. Some of those Banelings do go down to the mine, but there is still more than enough. The reinforcements do come in. But unfortunately, Byun, I think this is the thing that I dislike the most. He doesn't really like to split as much. You can kind of see he was focused way more on the retreat, so he wasn't really able to save as many units or do as much damage. Now, Dark, however, did just lose all of those Lings. And literally all of them. 84 have gone down. So Byun has bought himself a little bit of room to breathe, but now he's going to have to deal with +2 mutas with a big Ling contingent. So Dark being pretty passive with his mutas as well. He's kind of only just now kind of starting to get some use out of them since they do have those upgrades about to kick in, as well as the fact that, you know, he has a pretty big critical mass here. He's currently sitting on 21 workers or mutas right now. And I can kind of understand that. If he loses all of these, he's gonna have to remake them. But at this point, you can really get some efficient trades here. One Thor is not gonna be enough at all. Oh, a hot pickup right there. Gonna save all of these SCVs. That's a very nice move from both Byun and Dark. As that Overlord getting ready to go into the main base when he so chooses. So now Dark hitting from all sides here. The Thor will go down. The second one in the natural. Gonna try and save the factory, but that will go down. Byun kind of recognizes the situation is in. He does have a bigger army, but he has to do some damage. He has to slow this down. He's got to do something before that hive comes up. He will be able to get a cancel on that base, but that's not really an important structure. As the Widowmine's not really getting any good connections here. They do get taken down. Byun, though, is still pushing on forward. He is still ahead in pretty much most of these waves down here. But again, it comes down to this big engagement. More Banes, more Mutas, more Lings, more everything. Oh my god. Byun gonna be moving in. He's being very cautious right now. I don't know if he actually has a scan available to him since he did use all of them to clean up those Banes. Dark being very patient as well. The Bane's gonna start to roll in. Byun does get some good splits in this time. And he will be able to trade relatively efficiently right there, but the Mutas gonna force this entire army to come home to defend. I think at this point, Byun just has to say, to heck with it. I've lost my base. Pull everything. Go for a killing blow and try and win it now. Otherwise, she's just going to fall further and further behind here. The splits are good, but these army actually isn't attacking, so the Banes get much closer than they necessarily should. Byun, again, just giving way too much time for Dark to kind of remax his army here. And here we go. The Banes looking for some juicy connections. They do find a big swell of Marines right there. The Marauders getting surrounded. And I mean, Byun is holding in there. He's got to keep the reinforcements flowing, however. He can't continue to hold this position as much. And unfortunately, every time Dark kind of moves in here, he's forced further and further back. He's still only about half health on that hatchery. Hasn't been able to even kill that. Byun trying his darndest, but he does take another huge Bane connection right there because he has not pre-split his units. And Dark, I think, is just getting further and further ahead here. Another big round of Banes. More Lings for the Ling God. and +3 upgrades going to come in, so he will be equalized. Wouldn't mind's a little bit of a traitor right there. Do some damage to the Medivacs. And as those are forced back, the Muta's going to try and chase it down. They will actually get deflected. Gotta say, one thing about Dark's attack I don't really like is that he is committing very hard to these off-creep engagements, and it's costing him quite a few additional units. I'm not saying that Byun is 100% back, but actually these supplies are looking much more even. Look at that, Byun actually getting a better engagement right there. And that Muta count, not as scary as it was. Down to 17. If he can keep this, if he can keep killing those, I mean, he can come back if he gets rid of that Muta ball. Yeah, but you guys are right. 2k minerals in the bank. And that is starting to go up here. It's really that gas, though, that I'm kind of looking at. As you see, Byun going to be moving in once again. He's got a double prong attack ready to go, trying to split up this army. You know, that's actually not a lot of units on the top side. And the bank from Dark actually hasn't really gone up super high right now, as he's having to constantly remake the Banes, the Lings. At the end of the day, it looks like Dark's not even going to give him the chance to fight in there. As we do see, he's trying to kind of push it to that third base. Divide and conquer here, as Dark just trying to overwhelm one side at a time. Burrowed Banelings. Holy cow. Dark is pulling out all the stops in this game. A big mine hit right there, going to do what he can, but once again, Byun just taking way too much damage. He doesn't really split his Marines up too much. The Mutas should be enough to clean this up. Good focus fire right there on that mine. And here we go, the full surround. It looks like this might be it for Byun, as his supplies starting to plummet here. He is holding on the fort as best he can. Contaminate going down, so that there is no scan available. And the Mutas clean up the mineral line. I think this is going to be it. A valiant defense by Byun, but as his supply goes down to 50. So now coming into this game, we do have a little bit of a problem for Byun. He's got to get back into it right here, right now. Otherwise, the steamroll is going to be way too much. Dark, though, is just looking unbelievably solid right now. And, yeah, right now, nothing too crazy going to be coming out. We do have the natural hatch before the spawning pool, so no crazy shenanigans, no crazy rushes coming on down. And it looks like Byun is just going to be switching it up a little bit here. Going to be going straight into the reactor, going for the double marine production just to start things off. It does keep him a little bit safer, and actually, you know what, that might tell me that he might be going for an early attack. Probably since he's getting the factory, I'm thinking he's actually going to be going for a Hellbat push. It's still a little bit early to tell, but whenever I see multiple Marines being pushed out before the factory in a TVZ, that tells me usually Hellbats are coming next. So all Dark has to do to defend against that is, just like we've seen in the last couple of games, get the Baneling out at a relatively safe timing, and then he should be good to go. A lot of time we kind of see Byun, he doesn't really pre-split or split in engagements too much. He kind of focuses on the focus fire early on instead. So, oh, actually, he's just going to go for drops. So yeah, you know, Byun doesn't really take the best of engagements when he doesn't pre-split, because he takes a lot of damage to the Banes. And yeah, it just means Dark has so much more room to breathe when that does happen. Now Dark is going to just recognize this, come straight in here with a big swell of links. He's going to shut down any sort of push that was going to be coming his way. Oh, a ton of SCVs might go down here, but the Marines in a good position will be able to defend, so only 2 will fall. But again, that kind of resets what Byun had in mind, because he wanted to get a push out here relatively soon. Oh my goodness, that was actually a really good move from Dark. As now he can just go straight up into the Roach Warren, drone up a lot heavier, and probably just win from there. I don't want to say it's a winning 100% position yet, but I don't know, Kev. Still a bit dicey. Banshee's still kind of flying around, looking for any amount of damage that he can get. So far, so good on staying alive. Only getting about 2 kills, but it's kind of just the threat of it being around that is doing the best for him. I say nothing really too much else to say about this one right now. It's kind of just entered that little bit of a power-up phase. Since Byun hasn't really been able to get any early game damage done, I'm really worried about his next push, as we're kind of seeing Dark hit that critical mass of worker supply. He's in the 70s right now and can easily go up to 80, 90, heck, even 100 if he wants to. If he just wants to go a little bit overblown. So Dark gets a really good read on this as well, sees exactly when this push is going out with those lings. Still sees the lack of a third CC as well. Byun is just a little bit late with those, just so he can pump out some more units and try and get an attack rolling here. As we can see, he's going to clear up the creep, just give himself a little bit more room to defend. Has that high ground vision as well, so he will be able to clean up that one siege tank. And Byun looks like he's gonna have to retreat for right now. Alright, we got a little bit of a double prong action going on. Without the siege tanks, though, it becomes a little bit hard to engage, since... Okay, yeah, we do have infestors on the way once again. Dark just doing a really good job of clearing these small forces out. He's kind of, again, he's hit that critical mass. He can make whatever he wants. Banshee gonna get a couple of additional kills right here. But now Byun is just gonna do what he can to kind of pull Dark apart with the multitasking. And honestly, he might be able to a little bit here, but so far only getting 3-4 kills on the workers. That's not really enough for what he's got to do. That being said, you know, Dark has to split his units between a wide array of bases here. So that might work out in Byun's favor. Never mind. If 2020 was in an image, it would not be that one. But still, that was pretty bad for Byun. So now Byun still really desperate to get some sort of damage in. He's got to do something with this push, otherwise it's almost just GG at that point. Dark will be getting up to lurkers. He's up 30 to 40 army supply right now. It's just a really tough situation for Byun. I think he can get a pretty good engagement from this high ground, since there is no high ground vision this time. But again, I mean, this is a pretty good concave for Dark. He's just going to push right on in. The siege tanks wailing away, but there's not really any focus fire. So Dark wisely just splitting them off so the damage is mitigated. And even though this army doesn't look very scary, it's the reinforcement that is the most terrifying part. Byun down to 125 supply. That was just... ugh. So now Dark looking to go up to 4-0. The lurkers burrow right on top here. They don't have seismic spines just yet, but it's about to finish up. The fungal is good. Dark not really fighting with his entire army in this position, so he will take a little bit of additional damage, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. In the bottom or top left position, give it up for Dark. And his opponent down here in the bottom right, give it up for Byun. Old map, old tricks. As we do have not the most committed. This isn't going to be like a 2 racks, a 3 racks, or anything like that. This is just going to be a straight up Reaper Scout. Maybe get about 2 of them. And yeah, just really good. Just really good to kind of get the drop on your opponent early on. So now the big question is, will Dark see this? So far, he's got a normal build. He's got his hatchery up. He's got his spawning pool at a rough time. So he should be able to get some lings out by the time this hits. But it's going to be pretty close. He might lose one or 2 workers before he can get the queen to finally close this out. Yeah, so far, looks like the only thing saving him is the extractor, but that will not be enough for right now. 2 workers gonna go down. The links still have not been made. They are still morphing in, so this is already a fantastic start for Byun. He is expending so much mining time as well as getting these kills. And he's going to just start regenerating that health right now. Even going to be able to catch these drones heading for the natural. Ooh. Bit of a misplay right there. Does lose one of the Reapers. Now the barracks begins its slow flight home. Actually, no. It's either Morgan Freeman or like David Attenborough. It is a perilous journey, and it might not even survive. Now the Reaper is just going to be kind of jumping around, looking for any sort of opening to get a couple more kills here, but as the bases are connected with the creep, he shouldn't really find too much more. Very nice block by the Reaper is going to get an additional kill right there. Take a look at units lost. Really good start. So one of the big things to note about King Sejong Station is that you do have this debris wall right there. That does open up a second way into the natural. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but I remember just dropping tanks right here, putting some Marines on the high ground, and just absolutely wailing away on Protoss players, on Terran players, on literally everyone. It was absolutely hilarious to watch sometimes. Looks like Byun is going to be going for very heavy on the Hellions here. He's even going to get a Liberator to take advantage of this dead space. Funnily enough, he hasn't really walled off either. His supply depot wall is going to take quite a bit of time to finish because it's so large. The Pult Viking does make its way across the map, gets one creep tumor, and then gets on out of there. So Byun gearing up for an attack. Once again, the upgrades are going to be slightly delayed. Only just now getting those engineering bays at the 5:30 minute mark. So Dark will have a relatively high advantage here since he will have Banes, he will have +1, and he's even doing a very smart move here, clearing up those rocks. Good before, probably not as good now. I can agree with that. I feel like if you get Liberator range, like one of those Liberator range rushes, this natural just gets shut down completely. Gonna get a couple of queens though before it goes down. That was actually pretty nice. Like Byun is finally going to be able to send his first little bit of a drop out now that he does have Stim Pack. The rocks are cleared up, so that position is not going to be too bad. Any more for Dark, and yeah, he's just going to power up here, going for a much faster Hydralisk with range in case Byun decides to do anything crazy like that again. And from here, small little run by does get deflected, not before getting the Reaper. And from here, Byun just kind of clearing up the creep. Chilling out. The logo has moved from corner to the center. I will fix that. Boom. Now Byun gonna make his way in here. He will get deflected. The Hydralisk's gonna find the almost full medevac. Won't be able to kill it off just yet, but now that Byun knows that it is Ling Hydra, he's got to start. Widowmines just aren't really the best thing here. You'll probably need siege tanks to deal with this, as that is the proper way to do so. Now Byun is ahead in terms of army supply slightly. He does have an overall supply lead, and heck, he even has way more workers at 77 right now. So his economy is rolling. The Widowmines do burrow. They don't get the best of connections, however. But most of the Banes do actually go down on the Hellbats. So the Marine count is relatively untouched. They just can't really fight the Hydralisks on their own. They're going to try and get some pickoffs here, but you can just see withering fire from the Hydralisks will force them to retreat. And from here, we do see Dark going up to Hive. He's already got the Lurker Den down. Byun has to switch off from just Marines here. He needs to start getting Marauders. He needs to transition into Ghosts. There is a lot that he needs to start doing here if he wants to survive the next couple of minutes. Dark gonna be able to find this drop. A very nice little pickoff right there, but the main force is moving out. We'll find a lot of this creep. But you really got to start getting more done here. He hasn't been able to touch the economy in forever. So here we go. Once again, he just relies on the pickup here. No pre-split whatsoever. It's really kind of hurting him in these engagements. But he does have his 4th base up, so he is almost completely even, as Dark only just now getting his 5th up. Yeah, I mean, this is still a super equal game. I don't think you're going to be able to do too much, but, you know, best of luck to you. I'm going to be able to try and trade out versus some of these links. The Bane's kind of caught in the back, but he's got to get that hot pickup up. Losing one of the medevacs to the Hydralisks as well, so an okay trade since Byun is still ahead in... Or actually, no, they are both fully supplied out. One thing to note is that Byun has kept a couple of siege tanks back at home. He does have the Ghosts as well, so staying in a very defensive position right now. But Dark is going to expose that position, as he's just going to go right around the entire army. The Ghosts in the front will try and get as many pickups as possible, but they got to get back before those Banes get on top of them. Here we go. Dark is going to try and fight his way in. The Banes forcing the entire army back off of the Lurkers, which are still on the low ground here. Scan's going to go down. Doesn't really see too much. I don't know why he scanned that position. Might have been a mistake there. As we see the next wave of units coming on in, they will be able to get right on top of the siege tanks, and they will go down. So I think Dark has once again found the angle to break through Byun. A couple of ghosts are going to do what they can, but they can't get any closer as they keep getting their snipes canceled. Looks like Byun is still alive for the time being, but I mean, he took heavy damage right there. He lost 3 of his siege tanks, a bunch of his marines, most like 25 of his SCVs. That's a percentage if I've ever seen one. I mean, A for effort, D for execution. So now Byun really has to re-establish himself here. Just the fact that back entrance has been exposed does mean that he has to really expand towards that location now. Probably get a planetary up here just so that he can take the pressure off of his natural. See, once again, Dark completely maxed out. The ghosts get surrounded. Oh, beautiful use of the rocks to stop the full surround. And he's going to get a little bit of a better trade than he would have here, as the army now has to trickle in for Dark. The supplies are actually equal once again. What a fantastic move from Byun to try and get a better fight for himself. But he still loses 18 workers in the fray. Take a look at the income tab here. Yeah, it's about 1650 in Dark's favor, but that bank that he had is actually plummeted right now because of the fact that he has to remake that entire army. So while it's definitely not in a good position for Byun, that's actually not as bad as it could be. Look at that, even just gonna get a planetary on the high ground here to defend the natural. And now he did decide to go for more orbitals, so he did get an orbital on the 4th base. I kind of think that that would have been a little bit better as a planetary. Oh, the high ground is absolutely disgusting for this lurker right now, as it's going to be denying mining on the 5th for quite a bit of time. Byun can't really afford to make too many more command centers, so he's just kind of floating over what he already had in order to make that work. And now he is in full defensive mode here, as both sides maxing out once again. So I think Byun, his way of gonna playing this out, he's gonna turtle up a little bit, kind of go into a more Maru-esque style of play. Back when Maru's shoulder was hurting really bad, or his wrist rather, he just kind of started to do this defensive siege tank into ghost style. It's a little bit slower, but it's really his best option right now to kind of get back into this one. Gotta be careful not to throw away your units like that as well. Ooh, a good pickoff on 4 of those ghosts. One of them will survive, but he will have stories to tell. Now this is going to be really difficult for Byun to engage into. We just saw what's going to happen if he goes too far forward with his ghosts. So those snipes not really going to be able to get off. Sends a scan down as well, seeing that Dark did take that position, so he's already pretty much covered the map. Yeah, we're having a little bit of a Mexican standoff here. Ghost going actually really balls to the wall here. Will get a couple of good snipes off, kills off all of those lurkers, but there's still so much in the front. And now that Dark sees that they are nowhere near this position, he's going to go for a big attack here. Parasitic Bomb. Going to try and clean up some of these Vikings to give a little bit more room for the Vipers to maneuver. But Byun also going to get a kill on this base. Very nice. Good EMPs as well. He did get the static shock, so he will be able to get rid of all the energy on the Viper. They are now floating paperweights until they re-get up that evolution chamber. Nukes are on the way. Luckily, though, Dark does see the red dot. His biggest issue right here is kind of clearing up the creep so that these spore crawlers can't really engage in here, as we see a pretty big run by trying to go through to reestablish this base. Good EMPs as well. Looks like some random swarm hosts here going to be coming down. EMP all over the Viper, so they are going to have to remake once again that energy. The nukes landing once again, but only doing a little bit of damage to the spores. We see some pretty big fungals right here. Going to clean up a lot of Byun's army on this side. Even going to get a couple cancels on the CC. They get this tank, I would have been very, very sad. Good Snipe's going to get rid of some of these swarm hosts, as the Ghost's just going to fight him straight up, and they're actually going to take a really good engagement right there, as the Locusts weren't all together. Snipe's going to go down where they can, but they keep getting canceled here, so the Ghosts have to retreat once again. I love the Infestors just because they will be able to get even better cancels on those snipes. A good positioning on these Marines going to stop a majority of these units from getting that surface area as well. This game is just action-packed all over the place. Keeping a little lurker right there. But yeah, I mean, Dark has taken the supply lead. He's ahead in a lot of different ways, and he still kind of controls the map indirectly. Or rather, really directly. And so Byun really doesn't have any angles to move out on. If he wants to rely on nukes, I'm okay with that, but you got to get more Ghost Academies up. You don't really have the money to go for mass nuke either, so I just really don't know how he's going to be able to break out here, essentially. He keeps kind of losing these units not for free, but Dark has a much better bank, and you can kind of see Byun's has plummeted over the course of the last couple of minutes. Oh, this is a really nice pickoff for Dark. A ton of fresh mules. Byun's heart must sink right there. Looks like the front is starting to shift a little bit towards this base. This is kind of the stay alive condition for Byun right now, is getting this base established, but now he loses even more mules. Scans gonna go down all over the place, revealing the extent of Dark's control. That... oh my god. That is creepy. I think at some point here, Byun does have to push out. He's got to get further on. He's got to... essentially, he has to change where the front line is, because right now, Dark is kind of set up for over here. He's only got a small force on this side. So if you can kind of rotate around, get rid of the swarm hosts as well, that's going to be your best bet to kind of break out of this situation. Nothing really much to say about this one until something really exciting happens. As, you know, Dark just kind of building up that bank. Byun as well, getting a little bit of a buffer there. Looks like the Locusts are going to come in once again, but this time Byun is in position to kind of deal with them. And we get a little bit of damage done to the bio, which is okay. It's not boring, it's just kind of slow. What's the hash chat doing today? Everyone having a good day? But, yeah, the Ghosts are going to move forward here. The Vipers are at full energy once again. Have to be very careful with where you position them. And here we go. Dark looks like he's getting a little bit impatient. Going to look to break this position. The Banes doing what they can. Blinding Clouds are good, but the front lines are pushed so far back with the Siege Tank line. It's just not enough here, and Dark absolutely plummets in supply. Loses almost everything. The Remax, 42 Lings, 7 Hydralisks. He's got to remake that lurker count after everything he's lost. Oh my goodness. Now a little bit of a ambush here for these Ghosts. But now there is no more energy on those Infestors, so they are paperweights. You want to see battle report? There you go. As these Ghosts... oh my god, 7,000 to 2,000. So now Byun, he has the ability to move out, but he's still kind of staying back a little bit. Probably not 100% sure if he can actually move out with this. I feel like that is giving Dark a little bit of time to kind of repower up, but I mean, that income is actually in Byun's favor now because of those mules. Look at that army size, that dip. Oh my goodness, it looks like a crypto chart. Jesus Christ. So now Dark, a little bit supply blocked actually. Don't worry, he'll free up some supply by trying to trade out here, trying to push in. But the Lurkers staying alive for a little bit longer. But now the Snipes starting to hit their marks. The Infestors starting to fall. The Overseers in the front will start to go down. Honestly, like Byun just being very cautious, very patient right now. Picking off what he can, and Dark is actually mineral broken. He realizes it. He is going in for what he hopes to be a killing blow. Liberators in the sky. Gonna be able to clean most of this up. And Dark, I think he's kind of just shaking his head at all of this. As GG is called and Byun begins the reverse sweep. These guys having a little bit of a chat. These guys play quite a bit against each other, especially in our tournament series. So, you know, they're always like trading strategies around, telling us, "Hey, how are you gonna beat this? How do I beat this?" Good stuff like that. We see Byun going very crazy right now with the CC first. Looks like even Inu getting into the action right here with a little Hangul. Behind this is kind of the obvious follow-up here. We do have a 2 racks kind of coming up here. We will see if he does decide to throw down the third one, or if this is just going to be a 2 racks here. So going back to kind of the his strong points, the 2-on-1. While he didn't invent it, it was made by innovation. It is still kind of considered one of Byun's big ones. So Dark does kind of have a vision here, sees the fact that this base is much quicker, and that kind of tells him that he has the ability to expand a little bit more aggressively, be a little bit more economic. But it also kind of tells him that he's got to be ready for the follow-up here for this 2-1-1. So we should be seeing probably either a faster Bane Nest or going straight into Roaches. It kind of just depends on what he's feeling on Romanticide. I love how you keep tagging Sushi. I'm actually not Sushi, so I don't actually get the tag. I'm actually Passer 2300 in chat. Sushi is just a team owner. But yeah, it would be really cool to kind of see the Pro League players, the Pro League teams kind of come back into play here. We just need more team content, but I think as most organizers kind of find out, it's really difficult to do it in an online format. So it would have been really difficult to do over the last couple of years. I think even Wardy kind of got a little bit upset over it. Because teams wouldn't show up, they would be a little bit late, or they wouldn't show up at all, just no communication. So it's really tough. Have you ever seen Passer and Sushi in the same room, though? Well, I can't afford to go to Singapore right now, so, Yeah. But getting back into this game, we do have the first little push out from Byun coming in. Stim is complete, and the medevacs are not too far behind. Back at home, we do have 7 banelings on the way, though, so Dark has to be a little bit careful with them, as they don't have centrifugal hooks. So he's going to have to rely on Byun not being able to snipe them in small numbers. And Dark is being very cautious here. He's staying at the top of the ramp just to be really, really safe right now. And honestly, it's working for him. It bought him a little bit of time. The creep tumors do go down, but Byun can't really push too much further in. The Widowmine doesn't really do a lot there. It's maybe 1 kill, or 13 kills total. Now Byun really just has to keep this forward momentum going. He has to keep the pressure up and this force of Marines alive for a little bit longer while he kind of sets up and prepares for his next push. And that's kind of the ebb and flow of Terran that he has really mastered. As soon as your first harassment is done, you have to have the second one ready to go, and so on and so forth. So now Dark just kind of holding on here. He will be going up to Hydralisk, so he's going to feel pretty safe here in the next couple of minutes. All he has to do is not trade inefficiently here. A very nice trade for Byun. As Dark a little bit out of position, so Byun's just going to go straight for the main base. The medevacs do get focused down, so not the best move from Byun right there. But he will be able to get out of there with a majority of his units, so this harassment is still alive. Now we do see another attack, gonna get ready on the top side, going straight for the 4th. And this is where Byun is gonna just look to divvy Dark up as much as humanly possible. Yeah, Byun actually got some help for his wrists, Chubbers. His team kind of sent him to, I think, Seoul to get some medical treatment, so he should be doing a lot better with them. Dark just going to dive right on top of this, and he will lose a majority of the banelings. The siege tanks in the back a little bit too strong. So that was actually a good engagement for Byun, as he was able to trade out quite a few units for not too much of an investment here. Now this secondary attack, there's not really too much over here. Byun can actually snipe those Banes if he's quick on the trigger. Not going to do that, however. Just going to keep these units alive as he reinforces his main push. He doesn't live in Seoul? I don't know. I think he does, but Seoul's a pretty big place. Even a Liberator in the backfield, making it difficult for the Hydras to come in. A big Baneling connection going to weaken a lot of these Marines, but it just doesn't finish them off. And that's the biggest problem for Dark. He's just not finishing off this fight. Small little run by does get caught out here, but there's still quite a few Marines in there. Dark does have lurkers, however, and he is going up to Hive. If he can hold on from here, then he's going to be in a good position, because Byun is only making Marines right now, only just now adding on the additional racks for Marauders and Ghosts. That's a big run by. Gonna decide against it, however. Guess he wants to go for probably a 360 surround, just kind of clean this up. Honestly, there's not too much left here for Byun. And I think Byun kind of recognizes that this is here. Might just even pick up and get out of here. The Liberators in the sky gonna wail away on the Lurkers. So he will lose a couple of those. The supplies are still relatively equal, but Byun is everywhere right now. He found a very nice position between these bases, so he traded out quite well versus the Lings. The third base has been gutted. Now Byun gets on out of there with the supply lead. Overall, just a fantastic engagement right here. Dark, he's by no means dead right now, but I mean, that bank that he had, or that he was building up, is gone. Taking a look at the income tab, Byun was almost 1,000 minerals ahead. Now with the Vipers, it's going to be a little bit easier to kind of shut down these drops quite a bit. So I think from here, Byun should kind of just switch into a big open engagement, i.e. He should just bring all his units, get one big attack going. He has the medevacs for it. He has the unit supply to do so. And really, I think that's going to be the best bet, because at this point, Dark is going to start hitting that kind of critical mass where he can defend multiple locations. Yeah, you can kind of see Byun deciding against the drop right there. You did see where the army was positioned. And so now just gonna kind of come back and defend. One big thing to note is that while he does have this wall, you can actually just walk around it. Usually you would say one does not simply walk into Byun's base, but in that position you could actually walk right into Byun's base. And it looks like Byun's just going to kind of slow things down once again. Gets up to a nice ghost count. Gonna get a couple of more bases. You really do need to kind of secure these positions. Drop going to come down. The Lurker's going to do what they can, but there's just not enough of them. So the Hive might be under threat. It's only about half health. As Byun does have to pick up and get out of there once again. He has another force. That's quite a few medevacs. How many does he have? He's got one medevac for almost every 2 Marines. I think Byun's a little bit paranoid right here, looking for burrowed anything. And so he doesn't really want to lose this army to any cheap tricks or shenanigans. Looks like infestors are going to be joining the fray. Scan going to go down, revealing the army of Dark. He is completely maxed out. He's using snipes on the Banes, which, I mean, it works. It's okay, but it's not really the most efficient use of them. I'm kind of see just both sides starting to power up, getting to their final form. It's like a Dragon Ball. I think these games are kind of like a Dragon Ball Z episode. There, wherein you get one great little fight for a bit, a bunch of action, and now we've got about 2 to 3 episodes of filler before the next big fight. Parasitic Bomb gonna drop, deny the drop down there. It will be enough to kill it, so that's 2 full medevacs full of Marines, but at this point, I think Byun really just wants to kind of free up some supply for more Ghosts, for some more Siege Tanks. Did have a Greater Spire go down, but, yeah, I doubt that Broodlords are going to be the answer here. They might do well since there is a Siege Tank wall. Siege Tanks kind of do a lot of friendly fire when you do have Broodlords on the map. But there's just way too many Ghosts, I feel, to make them worth it. In terms of money, a lot of these bases are starting to mine out. So got to keep an eye out for that. Looks like Dark already kind of positioning himself so that he can kind of secure these other bases. He's also denied this base up here repeatedly. Yeah, 8 bases in total for our Zerg player. While we do have a bunch of orbitals, I mean, you need energy on them for them to be worth it. And I think from here, what Byun needs to start doing is, since he does have 81 workers, he really does kind of have to trade out some of those SCVs just so he can get some additional workers, or, excuse me, army units, as he is ahead in that regard, as Dark... Oh my god, Dark went up to 96 workers. But yeah, you can rely on mules at this point in the game. You have enough energy for them. There's just no real point in... keeping that many workers, but hold that thought, as we do have Dark going to be moving in here. This is going to be a costly engagement, but it will be enough to deny this position once again as Byun tries to take it. All but one of the Overseers will go down, and that's actually going to deplete Dark's supply a little bit. Now he is remaxed once again. Looks like we're going to go up to a fusion core to add on either Liberators, maybe go up to Battle Cruisers. That would be kind of fun to see. I doubt it'll happen, but, you know, stranger things have happened. Scan's going to go down, revealing literally everything on the map, revealing that this is a split game. He actually... Okay, he does get the army here. I thought he had missed it. Lurkers gonna defend down here as Byun is really wanting to establish another base. He's gonna need some detection down here. Feels like a TVT with the amount of scans that are going down. So now the battle lines are set. Looks like Dark is going to focus most of his energy down here to kind of take away from the fact that he does have a fully established base up here. He's got a pretty nice bank as Byun does come in, get a couple of good snipes on the queens. And once again, we see the nukes coming on down. The ghosts go a little bit too far forward and might actually all get cleaned up. The cloak comes in, but that is a very good trade if you can get all those ghosts. So how many did he lose right there? He got 8 of those ghosts, with Byun killing 3 of his own. So a total of 11 ghosts going down right there. Honestly, that was a really good trade for Dark. We got Thors on the way, but still no Broodlords in sight. So the Thor's not going to be the most effective things, as Dark is going to take just every other base on the map. Byun is established down here, but he doesn't have any gas mining. He really needs to start that. What are the resources lost? Let me see. 20,000 to 17,000. So Byun is a little bit more efficient right here. But, I mean, that's to be expected. EMP is going to blanket the Vipers, trying to get rid of the usefulness. You can't afford parasitic bombs or blinding clouds. And we do see the base going to go down up here. We do see the siege tank at the top. Going to clean up this one as well. The nuke's going to come down once again. I doubt this is going to be another solar situation. But hey, he's actually just going to dive right on top of this. Go straight on forward. He will be able to get the ghost there. But the Liberator's in the sky a little bit too much. That being said, they do go down, so they cost their lives. So Dark is really just trying to bleed Byun dry. Ooh, tough break right there. So now Dark's still wanting to clean up this position, as this is really Byun's only fully mining base right here. As we do see, that one is still mining a little bit. This one, though, is where all the fresh mules have dropped, so that's going to be his biggest income indicator. You can kind of see where those mules drop, making it a little bit more even, but at the end of the day, this is a lovely little bank for Dark. And again, you know, if you're going to go for nukes, I don't think you can just, you know, they're like Pringles. You can't have just one. You really do need to have 3, 4, maybe 5 going at the same time, so that you can nuke multiple locations at once. Pull your opponent's attention away, because right now Dark can just pay attention to everything, since there's not really a lot going on the other places of the map.
Assimilation successful.
Once again, Dark is going to just dive right in here. His supply starts to plummet, but the Banelings are rolling on through. A couple of Thors do get lifted up, and Dark's supply actually plummets right there. What is he going to make on the Remax? Okay, looks like he is going to finally go for the Broodlord transition. I don't know about that. Oh my goodness, if Byun knew that this was what's going to happen, I think he would have been very happy to just attack in right here, right now. Because there's not really a whole lot defending against all of this. He would have been able to at least snipe one of the base. Behind this as well, we're gonna have Ultralisks on the way, so I mean, he does have all the upgrades to switch into Broodlords. Why did he make 25 Corruptors? There's almost nothing in the sky for Byun here. He's got a couple of Liberators, but the Ghosts on the ground. Oh my goodness. Alright, there's the Broodlords. He's going to be able to make 7 of them with the current supply that he has. Scan's going to go down as well. He sees all the creep spreading here, but I mean, that's pretty much news to absolutely no one. The Wall of Death for any air unit that tries to escape is slowly surrounding his bases. Yeah, I mean, I think Byun definitely lost a bit of an opportunity there to at least establish a little bit further. Like the Ultra doing what they can over here. The Siege Tank's gonna hold their own for a bit of time. The base will actually manage to stay alive. So that is quite a bit of supply that Dark did drive into that. Taking a look at it here. Yeah, he does get a couple of Siege Tanks for it. I feel like this actually might do a little bit more here because of the fact that Byun is trying to focus very heavily on one location at once. So these ghosts aren't really getting far enough forward to get the snipes. That's actually quite a few Broodlords here. How many did he make in total? 19? So, yeah, even the Thors might have a little bit of trouble kind of getting on top of that without some sort of support. Both sides have very equal economies right now, 6,000 to 7,000. Not the biggest of differences. As Dark kind of just rotating around looking for an angle to attack in. He will find it up here in the top. The Fungals on the bottom. Just enough to deal with the ghosts if they do get a little bit too close, but they are pretty far back. Byun kind of recognizing that he needs to keep this base, but it's going to be a almost very quick kill here for a Dark. No repairs going down, just now repairing it, but that is not going to be enough. As that base goes down, the noose is tightening here. Dark is slowly bleeding out Byun. Even long distance mining right now just to make it a little bit easier on himself. I always love the little voice lines when they get infested. It's pretty cool. Now the Broodlords are going to find a nice little angle to come in as well. The Siege Tank's doing a little bit of friendly fire damage as well. The Infestors splashing on forward. Once again, going to get a kill on the base. Oh, that is a lot of fungal energy all over this air army. It's taking quite a bit of damage. The Corruptors in the sky able to kind of finish it off. And there's not too much left in the sky. The Thors doing what they can. So far, they've only managed to get rid of 2 of those Broodlords. Now Dark kind of just rotating around. Byun struggling to get back up to full supply. He's trying to remake the Thors and the Liberators to cover them on the ground. Now Dark kind of senses an opening. Parasitic Bomb does go down. Is that going to be enough to kill the Liberator? It is. And from here, Tark has taken the final base on the map. Another scan going down. He kind of just looking for bases wherever he can. A Thor drop going to be coming in because that's pretty much all he has available for him to drop. Now, the entire army of Dark is all the way up here. So that should help out a little, but you can see what happens. The fungal is beautiful. It cancels a majority of those snipes, and quite a few ghosts just decide to die. Blinding Cloud as well, going to make it very difficult to engage at the top of the ramp. And you know what? He could do Microbial Shroud if he wanted to keep his Infestors a little bit better against the Liberators, but that is a very moot point at this point as he is pushing his way in. Byun, he put up a very good fight, but the Thor drop down here gets completely deflected. And as this base goes down, I think there's not really too much left that Byun can do. His supply has plummeted. And taking a look at kind of this final fight here, he did manage to get rid of 6 of the broods, but there is still way too many. Especially with 42 snipes. Yeah, Dark kind of knows it. He's not overextending to a point where he's going to willfully lose his entire army. Is there a nuke? No, I don't think Byun has a nuke right now, but that would actually be pretty funny if we get a solar situation. As Dark kind of takes this, slowly coming on in. It's down to only 45 workers, but Byun only has 25 to his name. His base is pretty much mined out right here, so that bank that he had is gone. Sound is kind of scuffed. Not 100% sure. But here we go. The Broodlords do come forward. EMP is going to blanket the Infestors just to make it last a little bit longer here. Byun actually does have a pretty good supply, so he might actually be able to retake this position. But there's just way too much detection. The ghosts move on forward, and they get fungled. And yeah, that is pretty much the last hurrah of Byun. He does fall 5-1, but at the end of the day, he definitely made it a game worth remembering. Don't worry, guys, because we are still going to have game number 7, game number 8, and game number 9, as it is pay by the map win. Funnily enough, Byun is actually doing a really good job of clearing this spot up. Just got to be able to clean up this army, and actually there's not that many Broodlords left. Wait a second here. Is he still alive? Maybe, maybe not. Here we go. Dark, he's got the Banelings, he's got the Mojo, and he has got the final one. The split is okay. He's trying to mitigate as much damage, but the Banelings are on a homing missile straight for the Ghosts. They actually don't get that many of them. That was actually a really good trade there, but there you go. The Thors have been picked off. 36 supply. And spawning down here in the top right position of Whirlwind LE. Give it up for Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Dark. And his opponent down here in the bottom for the Shopify Rebellion. He is Byun. So quite a big map, I gotta say. The one thing I'm really hoping for is please no split map situation, because that will be here till all day. But one of the big things to kind of recognize here straight off on this map is that you do have quite a bit of area that you have to kind of defend and have vision on as the Zerg player, so that can really open yourself up to some quite powerful drop play, especially with all of this dead space up here in the top. And another thing to note is these third bases are very far away from the natural, so whichever one you decide to take, you are going to have to get a pretty good creep spread out. And you know, just be very proactive about positioning your units to defend. Whirlwind used to split a lot, right? Especially with the Heart of the Swarm hosts. Oh. Yeah, I don't like remembering those ones. Those are, I think those were the worst thing to ever happen to this game, is Heart of the Swarm hosts. But overall, looks like Byun is going to be going for a pretty standard 3 racks here. He did get that third CC, or natural CC, pretty darn quickly, so it's all just kind of taking advantage of the fact that his opponent isn't going to really be able to be super aggressive right here. But Dark is going to be the first one to kind of confirm that this is a full split situation, and they're going to be diagonal spawn. Don't know much about Dark, but Byun has been relentless with tournaments. Dude, like, Byun literally plays in so many tournaments, like, literally every single day. I remember, and I tell this story a lot, back in 2016, he had disappeared for like a year, I think. And then this random guy named Speak Now started showing up in all the Americas Opens. He started playing in a ton of online cups, and he would just absolutely decimate. And then one day, the guy who runs the tournament literally just said, "Hey, who is this, by the way?" And he just said, "Byun." And that's how you knew Byun was back. But yeah, he plays in a lot of tournaments. Dark kind of holds out for some of the bigger cups and these kind of show matches. But anyway, we do see a little bit of an Overlord hit squad coming on out, looking for any sort of detection that's going to be out on the map. We've got the Ling going to be able to come in here because of that. And Byun looks like he's getting ready to be aggressive once again. He's got the stim pack. And these units could do quite a bit of damage. Now, keep in mind, once again, this kind of does slow down the engineering bays a little bit, the upgrades as well. So, you really do have to get a little bit done with it. Otherwise, you do lose a lot of time here, since Dark does already have his Evo chambers up. So you'd never really want to fall behind in terms of those upgrades. Next big attack is about to be on the way. I'm sure he's just waiting for those medevacs to be complete. You can see he's going to start the long, arduous journey. But this kind of map, I do know one thing is going to happen here. It's going to be really hard to kind of bring reinforcements into any sort of fight for any sort of sustained period of time. And that's really going to affect both of them here. I think since Dark's units are a little bit speedier, it's going to hurt him a little bit less, but here we go. The first big engagement coming out. Stim it to win it here as Dark does get deflected. 26 more links on the production tab with Baneling Nest on the way. Is going to prompt Byun to go straight for the 4th. Couple of the overlords, which will actually supply block Dark for the time being, but the queens should be enough to get this away. So Byun will just kind of pick up and reposition himself. Here we go. Byun is moving out once again. He does have 30 army supply lead almost. So Dark gonna have to scramble for a little bit of a defense. He has to cut droning quite significantly. But if he can get these Widow Mines, that would be a very nice pick-off. Taking advantage of the very large dead space here, but the queens are already in position. The reinforcements as well getting caught by Dark with this run by, and the 3rd base will have to lift up. Now the big question is, will he be able to defend this 4th base here? Centrifugal Hooks is not done just yet, so Byun going to be able to get some quite nice snipes on those Banes. In fact, there's no Banes left, but Byun still has to pick up and get on out. So Dark really doing a good job of defending multiple locations at once. Byun not really able to get that forward momentum, which really just propels him forward in most of his games. Big Ling run by as well, going to get rid of all of these reinforcements and a couple of SCVs, forcing Byun to hurry back home with this drop. He's still going to lose 8 workers for it. Look how many Lings he's destroyed, but look at all the damage Dark gets to do because of it. Oh, the wall is not down, so these Lings are going to be really annoying to deal with. The main base is locked off for right now. But here we go. How many more SCVs are going to go down? The hold position, just super powerful. Let the SCVs come to you. Now, Byun not really taking any advantage of the fact that most of the army is on the other side of the map. The supplies are still relatively equal, but again, it just kind of comes down to the economic damage that Dark is doing.
Game paused.
Looks like a little bit of a lag spike there. Not sure who it is. Okay, it looks like it's Inu who's having the ping issues here. As we get right back into it. And now Byun will be able to kind of clear this up. Dark is actually focusing really heavy on the link production. And the reason he's doing that is you can kind of see. He's already up to 72 workers. And because he's putting on so much pressure, he can go up to Hive and not care about a thing. So now from here, Byun kind of forced on the defensive for right now. Gets a good cleanup on the drop. Byun just not paying attention. There are burrowed banelings on the map, which is either going to make a Terran very sad or a Zerg very happy, depending on how you look at it. And a little bit of Mind Drop might actually get some nice damage in. Very nice hit. So Byun is still trying to make things work. He is up an entire upgrade here as well. So these Lings just really powering on through, showing that you don't need Broodlords, you don't need Vipers, you don't need Infestors. You just need some good old-fashioned Lings with Adrenal. And Scan going to go down, revealing that, hey, I can kill some of those Banes, but not all of them. Actually does get a pretty good pickup right there, so he does save a majority of those Marines, so he can still utilize them a little bit. Little distraction right here. Oh, nice little scan. He tries to use it at the last second there, but no dice, as he is supply blocked a little bit here because of all the Overlord snipes. No words for that. But yeah, now Dark is completely maxed out. He's just got so many Lings. He can defend all of these little drop plays for Byun. They're really not going to be able to do a lot of damage unless you find something up here where there's just no units whatsoever. But even killing off this base, it wasn't really established in the first place. So even if he did get it, it wouldn't really be the most useful thing to kill. Yeah, that's a lift up. Fortunately, losing all of his units right there. 15 more SCVs going down, all the way up to 20. This base is not too long for this world. You can just see how much damage these Adrenal Lings do. We'll even be able to kill the Tech Lab if he so chooses. The third base goes down, and I think Byun has fought a good fight. But at the end of the day, he just has not been able to do enough. All his reinforcements are stimming on home. But that is it once again. As we see, it is going to be pretty similar to the first couple of games here. We do have the Banshee Hellion, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Or if it doesn't work, just try it till it does. And the Hellions are just going to kind of rotate around, look for any sort of opening. The Queens, though, are in a good position. Jagannatha, not really the easiest map to get some damage in with them. Dark is the final WCS champion of 2019. He took down Raynor to get that one. But world champion right now, I believe, is Raynor. Circling going to try and get in here, but that third CC does block him out. BlizzCon is Worlds. No, like we were saying, SC2 is not... The World Championship Series is not there anymore. It is now the ESL Pro Tour, with IM Katowice being Worlds, essentially. Night Swarm. Because what TVZ series is complete without a Night Swarm here? Now, Byun has no idea that this is coming. And in fact, this is going to be really bad. His units are completely out of position. He doesn't really even have a lot of units here in his main base. He's got to pull all the Hellions back to defend. The Banshees as well. Really caught out of position here, but now without the Queens, they can kill off the spawning pool, which would be pretty nice. At the end of the day, however, I don't think Byun can really clean this up efficiently, as all of his SCVs are starting to go down. 21, 24. I can't go above 24. Public school, remember? But, yeah, with all his production gone here, I think this is pretty much going to be it for Byun. He's down to 60 supply. And while he did get the spawning pool, the Banshees are gone. Only one of them left. There you have it. GG is called. So this guy's still chatting on away. Byun just needs a little bit of extra money, as Dark having a little bit of fun with it, getting a nice little dance. Also probably donating it to Byun here so he can get a little bit of damage. But the Reaper is going to come in, doesn't notice that the third base is down, going straight for the drone kills. And this tells him quite a bit, actually. Just the fact that there's not that many drones down here does tell him that that third base... Even the... You don't need to read Korean to know that is ha 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 ha. But that was pretty funny. I think Byun kind of getting a little bit tired. He has played in quite a few tournaments, not only today, but literally every day. It's probably wearing on him a little bit here, as he does go up to a third CC, so looking to really explode in terms of that economy. As I was trying to say before, Byun needs just one more win in order to afford a AAA title. He's currently only on indie titles with $30 here. Oh, that's the wrong game. But thank you, Der Omel 26 for the subscription with Prime. You are awesome, my man. So now the Hellion, he's gonna invest a little bit heavier into it. Only going up to 4 though, so we're not going to see 6. That tells me he's not really going to use them for any pushing. He's instead just going to use them for a little bit of poke, a little bit of harassment. So kind of just the standard Hellion fare. And from here, both sides just kind of powering up a little bit. Dark is going a little bit more heavily into roaches this game once again. So, yeah, he's looking to be a little bit aggressive early on. As once you start to get later into the game, the roaches don't really have as much utility as they used to. Here we go. Dark is moving on in. About 5 roaches, but they are going to get cleaned up quite quickly here. 3 bunkers going down, so Byun is fully on the defense. At the end of the day, this might have been a little bit of a mistake here for Dark, as all of these roaches will fall. And yeah, from there, you can kind of see Dark. He doesn't want to do that again. Is this Brazil versus Germany all over again? Not gonna lie, that is very true. So now Byun, he's getting ready for his first big push. He will have his first siege tank out in just a little bit of time. And with that, he is going to need maybe about 1 or 2 before he really moves in. Otherwise, these roaches are just going to absolutely decimate him, as we do see Dark has cut production on 68 and is just going straight for another jugular blow. He built 4 engineering bays. I actually don't think that was on purpose, on accident. I think he might have put a couple down here just to kind of block the roaches, potentially. But you're right, I did miss that. Now Byun will have +1 attack. He will have all of his upgrades. Combat shield is coming on in. He's adding on the marauders a little bit earlier because he does need to get something against the roaches. Yeah, he did cancel it too. Now the Bolt Viking does see that the debris is going on down, so that's gonna tell him, hey, get into a defensive position and get ready for the attack. Supply depot wall gonna go down just to try and confuse the AI a little bit. There's actually only 1 siege tank down here, but it's gonna get a wonderful shot off. The second one on the high ground, only just now in range. But here we go, SCVs are pulled. The bile's going down. I think he did get a couple. Does hit the medevacs with that last one, but now the full concave, the full surround is coming on in. Pulling back just a little bit to bait Byun into a bad position. 99 supply to 164. And although Dark will not go up that ramp just yet, this reinforce of 21 roaches joining the fray might just be enough to force the issue and to tell Byun to get the heck out of my game. Yeah, there you go. The siege tank does go down on the high ground, the third base. He doesn't even care. The GG is called. And Dark, with the final score of 8-1, will take the series in very convincing fashion.